ZipRecruiter is finding itself in a sweet spot right now as the demand for labor to support the economic recovery remains intense. And it showed up in the company's latest earnings report. ZipRecruiter saw third quarter sales surge 107% from a year ago. The company also lifted its full year sales and profit outlooks. ZipRecruiter co-founder and CEO Ian Siegel joins us now. Ian, good to see you again. We've been talking all morning long about inflation, whether it's in commodities or worker wages. From your vantage point, where are you seeing some of the biggest hourly wage increases for workers?
Well, we're seeing wage increase really across the board. The biggest is in leisure and hospitality, where there's just a real struggle to bring people in who are going to work every day in a face-to-face role with the public.
And Ian, what we keep trying to sort of get our arms around what is going to get those people back, right? We've talked before about whether it is wages going up that is going to be the key. What are you seeing throughout the platform? What is most enticing to job seekers?
I mean, that is the fundamental question of the job market today. Previously, we had hypothesized that all of these workers were reluctant to return to work because they were scared of getting sick, or they didn't have childcare, or they were getting stimulus checks, or they didn't have to pay their mortgages. And literally every one of the reasons that we had been talking about is gone now. And yet not only are workers not returning, but they're quitting their jobs at a record rate on top of that, which is putting employers in a real conundrum. And the response from employers has been to effectively roll out the red carpet to these job seekers. They are pulling out every stop they can think of. They're raising wages. They're offering an increased number of jobs with benefits. They're offering flexible schedules. They're literally offering entry-level job seekers the opportunity to go to college and have it paid for. And yet the job seekers still aren't coming. And fundamentally, what we think we're wrestling with here is a question of a change in what people want from work, which is they want remote work. They've tried it during the pandemic, they really like it, and they're holding out until they can try to find it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 4.4 million Americans quit their jobs in September. What are some of the top reasons they are quitting? Is it the mask mandate? Is it lifestyle changes? Is it a combination of all those things?
I mean, survey after survey after survey, whether it's on ZipRecruiter or on third-party sources, is all telling us the same thing. 55% of job seekers are looking for a job that allows them to work remotely. Again, during the pandemic, people discovered a new, more satisfying way to live. It's the number one perk that employers are offering on ZipRecruiter. 2 years ago, less than 2% of jobs mentioned remote work. Now more than 10% of jobs mention remote work. Those companies that are offering remote opportunities are experiencing the most success in recruiting. However, only about 40% of the jobs in America can be done remotely, which presents a really interesting question about what's going to happen to wages or benefits or perks for those jobs that require face-to-face interaction on a daily basis with the public.
Ian, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but this is something I've been trying to wrap my head around. The government numbers, the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers in the monthly jobs report now show, the last report showed, only 11.6% of workers were teleworking at some point in the prior month because of the coronavirus pandemic. That number seems so low given what you and many other people are saying about remote work. Like, what? Is it a data problem? Is it that people are working in an office even though they don't want to be? What's going on here?
Well, a lot of people have been compelled to go back to the office, particularly over the last quarter. And I think that's a big part of the reason we're seeing this surge in resignations, because before it was a reluctance of job seekers who were unemployed to re-enter the job market. But now we're seeing millions of currently employed professionals quitting their job, good jobs, without having another job lined up, which really, and I feel like I've been using this word a lot over the last 2 years, is unprecedented in the job market. Part of where this is coming from, though, is that job seekers and the currently employed have a record nest egg saved up over the last 2 years. There was a tremendous reduction in their amount of consumer spending that was going on, so they find themselves flush and they have long runways from which to make choices about how they deliberately want to live the rest of their lives. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out over the next 12 months, because at some point, these people are going to need to pay rent, they're going to need to pay their mortgages, and they're going to have to return to the job market.
Yes, they are. And so that brings me to my next question. What does normalization look like? Not just for the job market, but for you guys, right? You've been on a hot streak, a lot of companies looking for jobs. As we see this all sort of smoothing out, how does that look for ZipRecruiter?
Well, the story of ZipRecruiter has been a tale of two sides of a job market. I mean, if you look at the employer side of our job market, we've had 3 record quarters in a row where the number of employers on our platform looking to recruit just keeps moving to new heights, yet the job seekers have not been returning. And that has created an imbalance, which we are fortunate from a market timing position, but we are also fortunate from a product innovation position, because in a market where there is intense competition for job seekers, having a service like ours where employers are literally shown a list of algorithmically selected candidates and they can directly recruit them even before they've applied is an advantage. In the future, I think we're going to see that we're all on a glide path back to a more normal economy and a more normal job market. It's going to take us probably another 12 months to get there. And once that balance happens, it's still going to be an opportune time for recruiting and for job seeking. But right now, I mean, truly, it is a golden age to be a job seeker. You have never seen employers fighting so hard for your attention.
Good way to put it. ZipRecruiter co-founder and CEO Ian Siegel, always good to see you. Have a great rest of the week.